questions. My name is Dave, I'll be your tour guide. Much more important than myself is this lovely young lady to my right, the very talented Captain Sarah. Can everybody please say hello? Hello! She says hi back, she's just occupied. Now I will also mention we have an island drop-off. Halfway through the tour you have the option to get off the boat, hang out on the islands, and join us again later for the second half of the tour. I'll go over that though in more detail once we're out in the islands. As well, before I hop into things, any questions, please do not hesitate. It's what I'm here for. Again, my name is Dave. Just throw your hand up, get my attention. If you want to ask about the city, about the islands, about how my day went, I will be more than happy to accommodate. Any questions to start with? How fast does this bad boy go? We're looking at top speed, my friend. The island, it's relatively close. It's on Center Island, on the same island as the ferries, but on the opposite side.
Do we have a map?
Sorry, what's that?
Do we have a map?
Unfortunately, we do not have any maps on board. They've all gone for today, but there are maps on the islands. They give them out for free, so you can check those out while you're there. My favorite color? I'm a blue man myself. And no bathroom, I'm afraid. Alright. Any more questions, again, hands up. But for now, I will be starting with the harbour front, off on the right-hand side here. We'll be going by several industrial relics. For example, the red brick building on the right here, called the power plant. Surprise, surprise, this was a power plant. We burned coal here until 1980. Now, though, it is a modern art gallery. Next door, similar story. This, the harbour front centre here with the white awnings out front, this used to be a bus repair garage. Now, things have turned around today. It's an art gallery with a bit of a twist. When you go through this building, you're walking through artist studios. You'll see glass blowing, pottery making, sculpting, all that stuff right in front of you. You can interact with the artists, learn a thing or two, some tricks of the trade. As well, the Harbour Front Centre organizes all of the cultural events down on the water. Every weekend, in the summer, we have a free event to draw people down to the water, and we like to show off Toronto's diversity. And that's a fairly hard task. After all, Toronto, very multicultural. Over 50% of the population does not speak English as a first language. So at this stage on the right, we have all those events. Recently we had, of course, a Canadian event for the Canada Day weekend. We have Sri Lankan festivals, Taiwanese hot and spicy food, Scottish Highland dancing, Brazilian events, Mexicana weekends, pretty much you name it, we got it. And they always try a few different things. Last year there was a big breakdancing competition. The year before, opera karaoke, although needless to say that was a disaster. But most of the events, a lot of fun. It's a good spot. As well, next door, the little white footbridge there. This is the Amsterdam Canal Bridge, a gift from the Dutch royal family. They were harboured in Canada during World War II. As well, our country liberated Holland in both World Wars, so as a way of saying thank you, they've sent us over their favourite bridge from the Dutch capital. Now, you may have seen this before. Take a good look at it. Might be ringing some bells. You've seen it if you've seen the film My Big Fat Greek Wedding. Are you guys familiar with this one? That is where the couple in the film share their very first kiss. The romantic portion of our tour. That also happens to be Captain Sarah's favourite movie. She likes it so much she wanted to have her first kiss on that bridge, and you can congratulate her. Happened just last night. I'm all pretty proud of her. She said I was great, so it's good. Very safe spot to be having your first kiss. Can anyone tell me why? You're right next door to the police station. The building on the right here with the green roof, home to our Metro Marine Police Unit. Fancy way of saying the boat police. Now, I can't say this too loudly because they're right next door, but they probably have the easiest police job in the city. Of course, our harbour pretty quiet. Not a lot goes on here. Not a lot of drug busts and international crime. The most common call we hear on our radio for those police is, "Help, I'm out of gas. Can you tow me back to shore?" So, not bad, but they are very important, mostly because the islands themselves, the only way to get out there is by boat. No bridges, no tunnels, nothing connects them to the mainland. So if there's any kind of emergency, it's these guys that rush over and take care of things. Now, on the right here, of course, the two largest landmarks in the city. I'll save the CN Tower for later, though. We'll get a better view on the second half. You can really appreciate its height. But I will tell you all about the Rogers Centre, the massive sports stadium there with the big white roof. Now, is there anyone here from Toronto on board? A few of us, so you can tell me what this building used to be called?
Skydome.
Skydome, correct. It's a much better name. Most Torontonians have stuck with that one. Called the Skydome because the big dome opens to the sky. Fairly intuitive. It was built in 1989. This was the first sports stadium in North America with a fully retractable roof. It takes only 20 minutes to open, 20 minutes to close, and it costs only $12 in electrical energy, so it's very efficient. And when it opens, it reveals the playing field and 95% of the seats. So it's an indoor and an outdoor venue, home to the Blue Jays, our baseball team of course, and the Toronto Argonauts, our Canadian football team. They kick off their season July 23rd against Winnipeg. Now, I mentioned it's the first sports stadium in North America with a fully retractable roof. Can anyone tell me the first sports stadium in the world that had this feature? The Colosseum in ancient Rome. Actually, were the first people to come up with it. Of course, they're much less efficient. Took a few days to open the roof. This just takes 20 minutes. Now, if you look at the building, it's a little bit deceptive. The majority of it is actually underground. The playing field itself, it falls 7 stories below where we are right now. And because of its massive size, we can fit 55,000 people into the building for a sporting event. However, when we have concerts in there and cultural events and we use the field for seating, we can get up to 68,000 people crammed in the building. But only once have we hit this record crowd, yes. How much would it cost to rent one of these boats? This program here in particular is for people with disabilities, and they take them out for free. And it's a way to get them to go out in the water when they might not otherwise get the chance. Otherwise, I'm not actually sure how much it would cost. For this company, yes, you can certainly rent sailboats though, but I'm not sure how much that would be. Now, I was telling you about the max capacity. People often guess maybe Michael Jackson managed to fill it, maybe Celine Dion, the Rolling Stones, U2, maybe the Pope or the Queen or the Dalai Lama. Unfortunately, the only time we filled that building to the full capacity, WrestleMania 18. Hulk Hogan versus Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. 68,000 people wanted to see greased up men in tights. Don't see the appeal. Although we can justify it, the wrestling rings are so small that they can cram in extra seats, so apparently most venues in North America do report WrestleMania as the big number 1. Kind of unfortunate. On the right here, the first island of the tour. This, of course, being the Toronto Island Airport. You can see a plane in the distance above the airport just coming into land. It's a little bit far from us, but keep an eye on it as it comes in to the airport. Now, did anyone fly into Billy Bishop here, this airport? Did anyone fly in on Porter Airlines? Nope. No. That's not too surprising. It is definitely a smaller of the 2 airports in the city. In fact, so small it can't really accommodate most planes. The biggest plane allowed to land here is this one coming in. It's called a Q400. It can hold less people than we currently have sitting in this boat, just to kind of give you an idea. And they're all propeller planes. Now, the reason they're all so small is the runway is very small. Because this was built for military purposes back in the 30s, we trained our fighter pilots for the Second World War at this airport. Now, of course, fighter planes are very small, very quick, agile, maneuverable. They don't need a very big runway. Of course, the big hulking 747s we have these days, they really do need a lot of space. So they simply don't fit here. So we only have these propeller aircraft that come in and use this airway. Now, because the island is so small, the planes come very close to the water before they actually touch down. And of course, it doesn't take a physicist to realize big tall ships, low-flying planes, not a good mix. And that's why we have these white buoy markers on the right. You'll see, if you can read them, they say danger. Low-flying planes, vessels keep out. This is the keep out zone. No vessels of any kind are allowed in that area, and the punishments are very serious. Now, our boat is very low-lying. We probably wouldn't cause a problem, but if Captain Sarah took us for a little joyride in there today, we would each receive a $10,000 fine, and we would each lose our licenses for 5 years. Taken very seriously. We're not going to be taking any risks today. Now, Porter Airlines, one of the 2 that use this airport, they mostly cater to the business crowd. They have free shuttles to all the business towers in the city. Their airport's right downtown. Customs are a breeze. Oh, and there's a plane just taking off on the right, one of Porter's planes.
Oh, look at that.
And of course, a large perk as well at this airline, something you don't see much these days. Free booze on every flight. So that certainly is good for a certain clientele. Now, because they're all propeller-based, they can't fly too far. They've got a Myrtle Beach down in Carolina, New York City, Boston, Chicago, and of course Canadian cities, Montreal, Ottawa, Halifax, St. John's, Moncton, and several others. Off on the left here, great view of the islands. There are 15 in total, looks like one big chunk of land. It's not. There are little channels, lagoons that cut through them and separate them all. I mentioned they're disconnected